Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya. Sing Awesome Naya, and thank you all so much for all the love and support. Hope you all are doing great. It's quite unfortunate that with everything going on and the things happening on social media, it looks like some people are not ready to learn. There are some certain places you shouldn't go with some certain kind of people. This is not stereotyping, but this is just something that has been happening. And there is a pattern at which that is happening. And you all know that. We all know that pattern, right? I can remember I have brought so many, I cannot count them. There are videos of people who probably went out, road trip, woods, probably party with their palm-colored friends, and they never returned, right? And people are still making this kind of mistake. A young man actually went out with his friends. He cannot swim, and he is an aspiring doctor, and he is already a graduate. Guess what his friend did to him? They pushed him into the water. And young man stayed for 20 minutes, struggling for his life. He couldn't swim. And they could swim. They did not come to help him. Eventually, people came, took him to the hospital. Some of his organs already failed. But I am happy he is alive, trying to recover. We can do better for ourselves. Sometimes we probably might be waiting for our parents or somebody to protect us. First of all, as an adult, you have to protect yourself first before any other person can protect you. Let's get
Shout out to Love B. Scott, but have you guys seen the story coming out of Louisiana? Now, the student who had been hanging out with his friends at this restaurant bar that was near the dock had been pushed into the water by his friends, although he couldn't swim. Now, although Love B. Scott's article states that he was brain dead, KSLA News 12 had updated it and stated he only had brain damage, so thank God. Now, the mom and her attorney sat down with KSLA 12 out in Louisiana, and here's what they had to say.
After their son's near drowning at a Lake Darvon with friends. And joining me this morning is the family, Christopher Gillard's mom, along with the family attorney, one of the attorneys, Claudia Payne. Thank you so much for joining me. So let's talk about Chris. What happened? When did you get the call?
She told me that Chris had fell into the lake. He had been underwater for 20 minutes or so. And I was like, 20 minutes? Why was he underwater for 20 minutes was my first reaction. And she was just like, oh my gosh, she just kept crying hysterically. And I was like, where is he? He's being airlifted to Shreveport. We immediately started calling around, trying to find out where would he be, where would he go. And they informed me that the only trauma unit they have is Ochsner. So we got to Ochsner. They didn't have a call coming in saying that, a plane was about to land. But eventually, about 20 or 30 minutes or so, they got the call saying that he was on the way. He was 10 minutes out. It's like they got the call like right before they landed. And initially, when my son got there, the doctor called us in and told me that at that time that he was brain dead pretty much, and the rest of his organs were starting to fail, and that we had 72 hours on the ECMO machine. ECMO is like sort of like dialysis for the lungs, and they had to put him on a ventilator.
Wow. And so I'm going to bring in one of your family attorneys, Claudia Payne, working along Lee Merritt.
That's correct.
And you guys have learned more. Tell us
Yes.
what you learned. Did he fall into the lake? Was he pushed into the lake?
So initially, as the mother reported, we initially thought that he fell in the lake. That was what the friend group initially reported to officers. Soon after, and I guess after more investigation, they soon found out that he was actually pushed by a female within that friend group.
Wow.
She actually admitted to mom as well as the police officers that she pushed him into the lake.
Was this horseplay or was it mad or?
Well, in the legal field, we characterize things the way we see fit. So, of course, they are saying horseplay. We're saying that it was a criminal, intentional push into the lake.
And why didn't anybody go in after him?
Well, now we've
Good
seen a
question.
video where one of the friends in this group attempted to go into the water briefly, but neither one of the individuals a part of that friend group were the ones to retrieve him from the actual water.
Now, KSLA goes on to say that the family is seeking justice for their son. And they said Payne, Chris's legal team, is demanding an arrest to be made, as well as the restaurant owner who owns that docking area where the kids were near the water, for the owner to be held responsible for not keeping Chris safe as a patron of his business. I'm going to keep you guys posted on this story because it's rather interesting how nobody's been arrested, as well as the restaurant owner has not been held accountable for what's going on his dock.
See, this is what they're saying when they're telling you to be careful of the company that you keep. Man has brain damage, mother says, after allegedly being pushed in the lake. So this is 26-year-old Christopher Gilbert. He was at the lake with some friends in Louisiana when one of the friends, which happens to be a female, a white woman, pushed him into the lake, knowing that Christopher can't swim. Christopher was said to be underwater for about 20 minutes. So when it was a group of them that was standing there watching this man drown, when a bystander jumped in and saved Christopher. That's the keynote to remember, a bystander. None of the friends jumped in to help him. Then the second thing is that the woman calls Christopher mother and say he fell into the water. She didn't want to admit that she pushed him into the water at the time. What I'm needing is for you guys to reshare this post, as nobody in that friends group has been arrested for knowingly pushing him into the water and not trying to save him. He was originally brain dead but have survived. Christopher was going to be a doctor. He had just graduated. We want this story to get out there so that it could be justice for him and his family. This is a tragedy and it shouldn't have happened. But I want to hit back on the note of being around people who are truly happy for you and who are truly friends. Because ain't no way your friend will push you in the water knowing you can't swim.
Okay, I'm sick, but I'm pretty sure you all have seen that story of Christopher Gilbert, the 26-year-old man who is also an aspiring doctor. He was pushed into the lake by one of his friends after saying that he could not swim, and he drowned, and he survived with brain injuries to his brain. And his family is calling for an arrest to be made of the person that pushed him off into the lake. So we don't know if there's a case yet. Hopefully there will be one, because if I tell you, Heffa, that I can't swim and you still push me into the water, and then you wait for God knows how long to reach out to someone to save me, I want you under the jail, point blank period, because that's attempted murder. But this reminded me of Tamla Horsford, the woman that mysteriously died at that sleepover with other women who were she was the only black woman, and she was with a group of white women. And of course, police dropped the ball with that one, but I don't know what you expect out of the police or out of the justice system when it comes to black people. But I do hope that he gets justice, and his career is just, I hope he's able to make a comeback in his career and become a doctor, because that's what he was trying to pursue or whatever. But yeah, that's just crazy to me. I don't know if there's a GoFundMe or something. If there is, I'll add it, but I don't know.
This is Christopher Gilbert, an aspiring doctor who holds a master's degree. This Christopher Gilbert has extensive brain damage after his friend pushed him into a lake knowing that he could not swim. Pushed into Lake Albany in northern Louisiana. A female friend, while his other friends watched. No friend who could swim made an effort to try to save him. They watched him drown for almost 20 minutes. Initially, the friends said that he fell into the lake, but investigation later revealed that he was pushed. Earl admitted to his mother that they were just horseplaying, they were playing around. And according to this article, describing her reaction upon seeing her son for the first time at the hospital, she said, "I was devastated. I felt like my life had ended in that moment. My son is aspiring to be a medical doctor. My son is going to be a medical doctor." He got his master's last year in biological science. He's preparing for medical school, so for this to have happened to him, I was just devastated. She recalled the conversation she had had with a friend who pushed Gilbert into the lake, and she remembered asking why. Why would you push my son in the lake knowing he could not swim? And her response was, well, ma'am, I didn't know that man couldn't swim. And to that his mother replied, who is that man? This is supposed to be amongst a group of friends. Who is that man, Chris? Everybody knows he can't swim. Even when we went to the restaurant, the mother continued. The owner of the restaurant even stated, everybody knows Chris can't swim. He's been coming in here for 2 years. He's always joking about it. My heart breaks for Christopher Gilbert and his family. And just like his family, I too am praying for justice for him.
So this is all I got from this, and I don't know why some people do not listen, or maybe they are not seeing what is going on social media, or they probably think maybe it will not get to them. Probably they trust their friends and all that. But this is very common, especially when you are someone that look like me and you hang out with palm-colored people, because most of his friends are palm-colored, and he went out with them. And probably they've been hanging out together, but they knew that Christopher cannot swim. Who pushed him? One of the friends, female, palm-colored, pushed him there. Why did she push him there? Knowingly fully well that young man cannot swim. I really don't understand. Really, he is old enough. But one thing you have to know is that when you are hanging with these people, you are not old enough. Because anything can happen. Have you all not seen people that went on road trip, went on a party with their pop-colored friends and ended up in the woods and never returned? Like, the stories are just constant. It's got the same pattern. So even me will not go to some certain places if it is not broad daylight. Even broad daylight is also not safe. Because this particular one is very common. It happened also to a young black boy last year, and it was all over the internet. So you can imagine the ones that do not make it to also the news and the rest of it. This is really very sad, and knowing fully well that young man cannot swim, they pushed him 20 minutes. Nobody came to his rescue. Not until I think passers-by and all that. So if they were really friends, like they said, they could swim. What happened? Why did they leave him for 20 good minutes? And by the time they got to the hospital, they said that some of his organs has already failed. But I am so happy that young man he's not completely okay, but he is alive and responding to treatment. I mean, really, we really have to be very careful with people our kids hang out. Because nothing is, I don't know, we can do our part as humans, right? But then leave the rest. But there are some mistakes people shouldn't be making in 2024. Hanging out with some certain people in some certain places, especially when you know that you cannot swim. It is not new. I am not trying to hype anything or trying to make it look, but that is how it's been. Check around. Rashidi and the rest of them, so many of them. There are some of them, you see one part, the other side, you get to see another part, the other side, like disembarked completely. You all have social medias, you all are seeing all the things going on. You can help yourself. Sometimes your parents might not always be there for you. The best you can do is protect yourself as much as you can. There are some places you shouldn't be going to, especially with some certain kind of people. We can do better for ourselves, Just aspiring doctor, and he is already a graduate. Sometimes they smell from afar what is going to happen, in future and all that. And they see everything is all bright and sweet, looking good. And they really do not want it to manifest and the rest of it. So they're looking for a way to terminate some certain things. Wake up. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.